If you have a podcast, did you know that you can make it even better for your listeners with a brilliant tool called Searchie? In this video, I'm going to show you how you can do that. Hi, my name is Laura Moore from The Two Lauras, and I am a massive self-confessed Searchie geek. So if you have any questions about how to use this tool, feel free to reach out. So we host a podcast. It's called JFDI with The Two Lauras. It's available on all of the podcast players. But we also have a podcast hub. So this is our podcast hub. And anytime that somebody asks us for a specific episode or they ask us a question and we know that the answer is in an episode, or we just want to give people access to some of our content that is hosted in the podcast, this is where we send them, because we could send them to, for example, Apple or Spotify or somewhere like that. But if we do that, we're making big assumptions. We're assuming that they want to listen in Apple, for example. Maybe they don't have an iPhone, or assuming that they like Spotify. But we're also assuming that they can actually hear. And that's a big assumption to make. So by sending them here, we're giving them various different options of how they can enjoy the podcast. They can listen on Apple, they can listen on Spotify or SoundCloud, but they can also listen right here in one of these files, which also has captions and a transcription. And we could do that without any additional work. This is completely automated. We don't have to touch this. All we have to do is record the podcast and upload it to our podcast host, which, by the way, we use Captivate. Everything else is completely automated and it's so simple to set up. So in this video, I'm going to show you how that works. So this is Searchie, and Searchie is brilliant. It's a great place where you can host your courses, memberships, any type of video content, and you can also put your podcast in here. And it's so easy to do. So the first thing you're going to do is link to the podcast into Searchie in order for our content to automatically be built into our hub. So in order to do that, you just come over to the built-in apps, and there's so many different apps in Searchie. We're going to use podcast for this video, and my podcast is already linked here. But all you need to do is press add podcast, and then you just add the URL either for Apple or SoundCloud. You pop that in there and it will do its thing, and that will automatically mean that every single episode will be pulled into Searchie and you don't have to do anything. It does it all on its own. So every time that your weekly episode or your monthly episode goes out, it will also come straight into Searchie and you don't have to do anything. When it comes into Searchie, it will automatically be transcribed, and that will automatically add captions and make it completely searchable. So in here, we have a search bar and we can search for any word in here. So let's search for Facebook, and it will bring up any time in our podcast that we've said Facebook. So we've said Facebook in these 3 episodes in the title, but we've also said it in these episodes actually within the episode. So it will show us any time that we've said that word. So the brilliant thing is you could tell people in your episode, go and search for purple pumpkin in the Searchie hub, and it will bring them back to that specific place where you were talking about that specific thing in your episode. And then if I click into the actual video, it will highlight that on the side here, and I can go directly to wherever I've said that. So I don't need to watch the whole video. I can just go to that particular piece in the episode that I want to enjoy. Now, if you're a podcaster, you're probably a podcast listener. And how many times have you listened to a podcast episode and then a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, you want to go back because you know that there was something in it that you wanted to action, but you cannot for the life of you remember which episode it was, and you don't have time to go and listen to them all. And even if you find the right episode, you've then got to skip through to find where they said it in that episode. And if someone has an hour-long episode, that's time-consuming. So this makes it so much quicker. Honestly, I wish all podcasts were hosted in Searchie, because I listen to a lot, I forget a lot, and I want to go back and find what it was that I was listening to. So this is a game changer. So you would have linked to your podcast. And then the next thing is that you're going to set up some automations. So this is our podcast folder, JFDI with the Two Lauras. Every single time that one of our episodes goes out, it will automatically be pulled into this folder. Okay, that's how we've set it up. So it will automatically come into here. And then, and you can see it's set to auto sync. And then we can set up various different automations that will help you so you can be completely hands off for this to go straight into your hub. So in order to do that, you need a playlist. So just click on playlists over here. You would press add to create a playlist. You would give it a name, and then that will create your playlist. So this is our podcast playlist. Okay, so this automatically pulls in every single episode that is uploaded. And it does that because we've set up an automation. And it's really simple to set up an automation. You just need to click on these settings, and then you would go to, funnily enough, automation. And so what we want to tell Searchie is that every single time that an episode goes into this folder, JFDI with the two Lauras, it will go into this playlist as well. So you can pull this down, you can select any of your folders and make sure that it goes into this playlist. Okay, so that's really simple to set up. You set it up once, it's good to go. Next thing you need to do is to go over to your hubs, and you are going to create a hub. Now, we have unlimited hubs, so we create hubs for everything. We love hubs. The brilliant thing with Searchie is that they have templates, okay? So if you click on see all templates and you click on podcast, there are some brilliant podcast templates in here. So you don't even have to be a designer to build a brilliant podcast hub. So I'm going to just click on this one, and we're just going to select this one for now. And I'm just going to call this test podcast hub. And I'm going to press confirm. So that's creating our hub. Okay. And now we can go and we can customize this hub. So we're going to click customize. And once it's loaded the editor, we're just going to make a few tweaks and changes. We're not going to do loads because this is a template. So we don't need to do loads. We don't have to do anything really. We just put in the different links that we need and the specific content. So let's first of all add in the actual files that we want. So I'm just going to press this. This is a featured section. This is where you would put your trailer, okay? So if it's pulled all of your different episodes over from your podcast player, then it will also port over your trailer. So if we go back to our podcast hub here, at the top here, this is our trailer. So what we're assuming is that anyone who comes here is brand new. The first thing they should do is listen to the trailer to find out whether this is right for them. You may have an specific episode that you would rather sit here. That's fine. Put whatever you want in the featured section. So to do this, you could just choose the file you want. You're going to find the folder where everything is. And I'm just going to search for what the JFDI podcast. So we're going to press that. We're going to press select, and that's pulled that in. It's also pulled in all of the description. So you can choose whether or not you want that. I don't want this to show. So actually I'm going to hide this. So all I need to do is just toggle that off and it's gone. Okay. I can also change the title here if I wanted to. I'm just going to leave that for now because it looks fine to me. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull in the actual playlist here that we created just now so that all the episodes show, and that will look like this. So all the episodes are going to show here. So let's press the settings and we're going to choose the playlist. And in order to do that, we need to add content, and we're going to import from the library. Okay. And we're just going to search for JFDI. This is the one that we want. It's that playlist that you created earlier, the one that is automatically updated. So we're going to pull that straight into here. Okay, and that's pulled in here, so we don't need to do anything else in here. You can choose whether or not you want the title turned on or off, or you could just click in here and put listen to our latest episodes, or whatever it is you want it to say, you can add in there. And then you can do the sorting either from your playlist or most recent, what have you. I would tend to sort the playlist by most recent, but I would also click on most recent here just to be double sure that the most recent one is always the first one that you see. And then I'm just going to press save because we haven't pressed save for a while. Just want to make sure that we've saved all of the changes. Okay, and then at the bottom here, we can have some information about the podcast if you want. You may not want that, in which case you can just delete that section and it's gone. So in order for these to become buttons, it's really simple. You just need to add a link. So these are actually images, okay? So they've just been uploaded. So you would just upload your own image if you don't like these ones. And then in order to change where they go to, we are just going to add a link. So let me just click on this section. So this is a column and this is the image. And we just need to make sure this is toggled on. So it says target. And we're going to put the link in here. I don't have the link handy, so I'm just going to go straight to our website. And again, if we press save, that will now make that button clickable, basically. We can also choose to open it in a new tab. And you would do that for all of the buttons, so they go over to wherever they need to be. Just moving back up to the very top section, we're going to make this our logo. So in order to do this, we are just going to update by uploading a new image. And you can use Canva if you want to, Just to advise you, if you design with Canva, you cannot have a transparent background. So if you want an image with a transparent background, you need to upload one. So I'm just going to quickly upload our logo. So let's go with that one. And it takes a while to upload, but there we go. We can change how big this is. So at the moment, this is custom, and we can make it bigger, smaller, whatever size we want it to be. So let's go with that. You can change the text in here as well. Obviously, you can just overwrite this. You can just press the little settings cog and you can overwrite any of this text. And then that's your Searchie Hub ready to go. Now, this might not look like your branding, so you might want to change it, which is totally fine and really easy. So in order to do that, we're just going to go over to the Appearance tab, and on here you can change your colors. I'm just going to add one of ours. It won't go with this design whatsoever, but let's just add it in anyway. Okay, and it's changed some of the different elements of here. So you can see that the buttons changed, for example, and these parts at the top have changed as well. So that's the colors. We can also change the fonts, and this links with Google Fonts. So we can add our own font, for example. So I'm just going to change both of these. There we go. We're going to press save. We can add our logo. So our logo can be shown on here. So I'm just going to add this one. So our logo now shows here. And again, we can change the size of that if we want to. And I'm going to press save. We can also add a favicon. I don't have a favicon handy, but you could add one and then it would show at the top here, and rather than it showing the Searchie icon. In here, you can change how things look when people are watching them. This currently is on a gallery view, which is fine for a podcast, but you might prefer to have a list whereby people can see other episodes whilst they're watching this. So depending on what you prefer, obviously you can choose a list or a gallery view. You can also add custom code if you want to. I'm not going to do that at the moment, and change any of these settings to suit you. The final thing is your buttons and images. On here, you can change how they look, basically. So we've got rounded buttons at the moment, for example. If we wanted to change the buttons, we can also change the radius on them. So we might want to have square buttons. For example, if this didn't have a dark background, we might want to add a drop shadow. So there's loads of different things that you can do in here. The beauty of this is that once you've built this, it's built once. You don't need to do anything else. And every single time that you record a podcast and it goes live in your podcast player, it will also automatically go into here. And it's searchable. People can use captions to enjoy your podcast. They can also download the transcriptions, and you can add your show notes. You can add other things for them to download. And you can make this work for you whatever way you want. So on ours, we've added other sections. We have a button where people can join our community. We've linked our socials. We've just used really simple buttons for these, but we could have added, really branded imagery, for example. You might want to add in here a link to your list builder or a link to go and join your course. And anytime you're in a launch, maybe you want to add certain other things. But the point is, it's really easy for you to be able to create a podcast hub. And this makes it so much better for people to enjoy your podcast. So have a think about how you can add a podcast hub into your business. If you're a podcast host and you don't have a podcast hub, then your listeners might be missing out. So definitely have a think about it. Go and take a free trial on Searchie. If you need help setting up your podcast hub, then feel free to reach out. I'm always here to help. And as I said earlier, I am a massive Searchie geek, so I would definitely love to answer your questions. Hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, then hopefully we'll see you soon.